Hi everyone, this is Renee from Meadowlark Mystic, and I am doing an old VR that I think I saw last year called 22 Favorites, and I believe that it was picking out your favorite majors from your tarot decks. So I decided to give it a go because I wanted to look through my collection and just have some fun. So these are my choices. I did forget some decks, but then I was too tired to go back and integrate them. So I'm going to put them in batches so that you can see, and then I'll tell what deck they're from. So these are my some of my favorite Fool cards. I guess I could do batches 4. So let's make sure that this is... So this Fool here, I'll bring it up a little closer so you can see, is from the Crystal Tarot. And it is a pip style deck, and it has been completely trimmed. It's really an exquisite deck. The paintings are just gorgeous. So, and then this is the Dreaming Way, the Gaian Tarot, and this is the Gypsy Palace. And it's a weird, funny Fool card, but I just love it. So those are some Fool cards that I really like. And I only have one more, so I'll show them. This is from the Hudes Tarot. This is the Fool from the Hudes Tarot. I really like, it's kind of an intimate picture of the Fool. Okay, so those are my Fools. Not exactly sure how I will do that. Oops. And so now I'm moving on to my favorite, some of my favorite. I believe this is the Magician from the Margarete Peterson, but it could be actually the Fool card. I'm not really sure. But anyway, I was going to put it in here in any case. So these are some of my favorite magicians. Some of them are more traditional and some of them are not traditional. And so again, this is the Margarete Peterson. It's been trimmed. This is the Dreaming Way. This is the Golden Tarot by Liz Dean. And this is the Fountain Tarot. I like all these a lot. I like, one of the reasons I like this Magician so much is it's kind of modern and quirky and androgynous. So I like that. And then here are some other Magician cards. We've got Isis, Merlin, that's it for, so we've got these two. So this Isis card is from the Goddess Tarot, and it's, the majors in this deck are so beautiful. And then this is, of course, Merlin from the Arthurian Tarot, which I love. So those are the Magician cards. It's funny when you do this kind of thing, you learn which cards you really like a lot and which cards you're, I don't know, not so keen on. So these are the High Priestess cards from various decks that I really like. Oops. So this is the Fountain Tarot, and this is Psychic Tarot for the Heart. This is Tarot of the Four Elements, this one here, and this one is the Margarete Peterson. I like this High Priestess because she's older and she looks like she has a lot of secrets. I adore this High Priestess because she also looks like she knows a lot of things, but one of her, I guess, powers is listening. So she has those kind of sound waves coming off of her ears, and I love her hair. This one, I just really like the distillation of the figure into this triangle, and you know, the two palm trees and then this moonlight at the top. I really love that. And this High Priestess is just so cool. I don't even know if you can actually see. There's her face, you can see it better. But that eye and the moon at her So those were my High Priestess cards. Oh, and this one more. I love this High Priestess from the Nature Spirit Tarot. It's very large, but I just love the expression on the owl's face. And the plants and stuff in this. Very cool. Okay. You know, the Empress cards, I just did a video on Empress cards, and I didn't have as many as I thought I would. You know, I thought that, I guess what I'm saying is the Empress card was not easily, wasn't one of my favorites just straight off the bat. Like, I had so many death cards and so many devil cards, but not as many Empress cards. Oops, it just stalled there for a second. Okay, so this is the Shadowscapes. Beautiful Empress. And then this is the Margarete Peterson. This is the Voyager Tarot. This is Raven's Prophecy. And this little one, again, is the Crystal Tarot. And she's just gorgeous. Gorgeous Empress. I'll show this one a little bit closer. Okay, so those were my Empress cards. It was actually really fun going through my decks. So I thought it was going to be like, wow, why am I doing this? But it was actually really fun. Now the Emperor is my birth card. I thought I would have an easy time picking Emperors that I really liked, but actually it wasn't as easy. I had to go back and look again to find one that I really liked. So here are the Emperor cards. So this is the Gypsy Palace. This one is the Voyager. This one is from the Gaian Tarot, the Builder. This is the Emperor from the Star Tarot. I'll bring it a little closer so you can see. I just like all the animals and how he seems very nurturing. And I like this from the After Tarot because of the large ram in the front. I like that inclusion. And then one more is, nope, not this one. She goes with the next. Okay, so those were all the Emperor cards. My favorites. And now we've gone on to the Hierophant. So these are some of my favorite Hierophants. I don't have very many Hierophants, so I guess that's it for the Hierophants. So again, this is the Goddess Tarot, this is the Fountain Tarot, and this is the Arthurian Tarot. It's kind of hard to see in this light. The Fountain Tarot it's kind of a subtle deck, but it has a lot of power when you really look at the images. I love how this older man is opening this box of knowledge and kind of sharing it. So that's why that resonates so well. And then this Juno is represented for tradition, and she's an example of how a goddess can be kind of over time twisted and morphed into something petty. So Hera is often portrayed, which is another name for Juno, as just the jealous wife, but actually she represented a much deeper and more lasting way of doing things in ancient Greece before the pantheon got kind of flipped on its head. So anyway, I like this card for a reminder that tradition has many different variations. And then this one, Taliesin, I'm not really sure how to pronounce his name, but he's like the great storyteller, and he's also part of a myth of a goddess myth. So he's really amazing, and I love how he has children. He's weaving a story for them to read. Okay, so now we're moving on to the Lovers. I'm gonna have to go a little quicker. So these are the Lovers cards, and this is the Japaridze Tarot, Raven's Prophecy, and Tarot of the Four Elements. I love how all these cards don't necessarily depict, you know, a man and a woman and an angel. For me, it's more a coming together of two separate things. It can be two hearts, it can be two ideas, it can be two lifestyles. So, you know, this heart is kind of being combined, and these two beings are having to, you know, come to an understanding about how they're going to merge. And then this card I find really interesting because of the hands over the mouths, kind of what you do and don't say when you're forming a partnership and the choices that you make. So those are the Lovers. And then the Chariot. Ooh, there's a hawk outside. So at first I didn't have a lot of Chariot cards, and then I went back and looked a little closer. So I do have some favorites. So these are the Voyager Tarot, the Star Tarot, the Shadowscapes, and the Hudes Tarot. I'll bring the Star a little closer because it's kind of hard to see. Just an absolutely beautiful card. And I will bring the Shadowscapes closer too. I really love the movement in this card and how it's unicorns that are moving it forward. Okay, so that was the Chariot. Those are my favorites from my collection. And then we move on to Justice. In some decks, it's, you know, the numbers are reversed, but I just decided to go with this. So these are the Justice cards that I liked. And I had a lot of Justice cards. Oh yeah, okay. So again, this would be the Shadowscapes. This is the Golden Tarot by Liz Dean, the Japaridze. This is the Arthurian Tarot, and this is the Sun and Moon Tarot. I'll bring this one up a little bit closer so you can see. It's a beautiful image. You know, for me, it's kind of how justice can be somewhat fragile, but also strong. So I like the two images that are on that card. This card is really important to the whole Arthurian legend, the sovereignty, how rulership of the land is determined first and foremost by the goddess of the land, and that you must be honorable and without blemish to rule. And so it goes back to that sense of justice. I like traditional depictions of justice, and then I like non-traditional depictions of justice as well. And then I also really like this depiction of the Hudes Tarot of justice, and one of the reasons is because the pillars behind her, to my eye, look like they're made from malachite, and I associate malachite with compassionate justice. Okay, so those are the Justice cards. And then we move on to the Hermit. The Hermit card is an easy card to have a lot that you like because it's such a beautiful kind of mysterious idea. So this is from the After Tarot. I love the inclusion of the snake instead of the staff and the black wolf. This is from the Dreaming Way. This is the Golden Tarot by Liz Dean. This is a pip deck, and the cardstock is very plasticky, just FYI. This is the Fountain Tarot and the Star Tarot. The Fountain Tarot has a very mysterious hermit, but it has a beautiful atmosphere to it. And then the Star Tarot, it's just gorgeous. It's like a portal almost. And then this Hermit from Raven's Prophecy. Really love it. I would say more about each card, but I have so many to get through that I just need to go through. And then we were on to the Wheel. So these are some of my favorite wheel cards from my collection. We've got the Gaian Tarot, Tarot of the Four Elements, the Margarete Peterson, and the Sun and Moon Tarot. I like the kind of cogs in the machine feeling, because sometimes it does feel like that things are predestined, but then it also has kind of a sense of mystery with the Sphinx at the top. This is just a beautiful depiction of the wheel and how things are moving and changing all the time, never staying still. This Tarot of the Four Elements, it hinges on this, the emblem of the corn in the middle of the wheel, and how sometimes you have times of plenty and sometimes you have times of scarcity, and it just, you got to hold on. And then I love this wheel for the seasonal changes in the moon cycles. So now we're at Strength, and I don't have that many for Strength. So we've got the Japaridze Tarot, this is the Voyager Tarot, and this is the Strength card from the Goddess Tarot, and it's Oya. Absolutely gorgeous. I'll hold this one up because it's kind of hard to see. And the Japaridzes, just, I don't know, she's floating, but they're like in partnership. So I really like that depiction of Strength. And now we're on to the, what are we on now? The Hanged Man. Yes, sorry, the Hanged Man. And at first I didn't have very many Hanged Man. I'm not including the one from the Stone Tarot because I just showed that. So these are all my favorite Hanged Mans. We've got Kuan Yin from the Goddess Tarot, the Hanged One from the Voyager Tarot, the Drowned from the Japaridze, the Hanged One from the Star Tarot, and the Tree from the Gaian Tarot. Gorgeous Gaian Tarot. And very mystical, very chakra. Star Tarot. And then the Voyager is just interesting, really beautiful, strange. And then for the Goddess Tarot, it's Kuan Yin, because she sacrificed to become a bodhisattva and keep helping the people in this world. Okay, so those are the Hanged Men, Hanged People. And now we move on to Death. And I had so many Death cards. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it in one batch. I guess Death is one of my favorite cards, and one of the cards that I most like. Which, yeah, I have a lot of Deaths. I'm going to have to do it in two sections. Okay, so this is the Hudes Tarot, the Dreaming Way, the Star Tarot. This hilarious card is the Cat Marseille, and this is the Crystal Tarot. Again, I'll hold it up because it's really hard to see the Crystal Tarot. Just absolutely stunning majors in this deck. Again, this is fully trimmed, so it has no titles, which is a little tricky with this deck because the pips are not even like kind of normal pips. This is just, this Death card was one of the reasons I got this deck. So beautiful. And then the pelvic butterflies. Really gorgeous. Okay, so that's the first round of Death cards. And then the second, we've got these beauties. Okay, so this is the Golden Tarot by Liz Dean. This is, what is this? I'll come back to it. That's the Fountain Tarot, and this is the Japaridze Tarot. Oh, this is the Vision Quest. So, you know, this deck, the Golden Tarot by Liz Dean, it's not very popular because it's a pip deck, but there's just something so compelling about this Death card to me. It's just so different from other Death cards and poignant. Like, you don't know if she's getting over the death of someone or if she's actually death herself. This is just so beautiful. And this is a very creepy Death card because of the, you know, that horse. His eyes are kind of glowing and it reminds me of a nightmare. Anyway, I love it. And this is one of the most beautiful death cards ever. Okay, so that is Death from my collection. And then now we move on to Temperance. And I guess I could sneak one more in. So these are the favorites of the Temperance. This is Tarot of the Four Elements, the Star Tarot, the Golden Tarot by Liz Dean. The reason I keep saying Liz Dean is because there's several Golden Tarots. Vision Quest, and the Hudes Tarot. These are all just really beautiful. I'll show this one a little closer. The colors on this card are just really exquisite. This is sticky Schiffer cardstock, and it's been trimmed on the sides, but it's still beautiful. I love this Temperance card because she's so large, like she's a vast galactic being, but she's pouring these teeny tiny little cups. I really like that. And again, she's also being very careful with how she pours into that basin, and I really like that. The last one for Temperance is Yamana, and she is gorgeous. The balance that we need to keep with the natural world, and this is the Goddess Tarot. Okay, so that was Temperance. And then we have the Devil, which is also one of my favorites. One of my favorite cards. I always look for the Devil. I check out the Devil. And I'm picky about the Devil. And if the Devil is not right, I'll like mess with it, which I'll talk about in a second. So this is the Gaian Tarot. I love how it's bindweed. This is Raven's Prophecy. This is the Star Tarot, Fountain Tarot, and again the Crystal Tarot. I'll hold this one up because this Devil is really cool. Looks like a fallen angel with no pupils. Very beautiful and creepy, but in a good way. I like how these, you can see the people being like in this shroud almost and controlled. And then again, these two are controlled. This is the masks you wear and other people wear. So that's the first round of the Devil cards. And then this is my second batch. Oh, that's it. So just these three. So I had a really powerful reading with the Green Knight, and he's a particular type of archetype in the Arthurian Tarot, a challenger to your truth. So I really love this depiction. I think this is just an absolutely stunning depiction of kind of the nightmare reality of when you're trapped within the grasp of the devil, whether it's in your own mind or something external. And then this is my devil with the blue dress. Lena said if I get this deck again, I shouldn't put pajamas on the devil. I think this is a really funny card. You can see what I was trying to block out if you realize that these are not feet, but the devil's testicles. In any case, I love this devil card because of the way the devil is holding the figures. And the kind of tentacle arms on or feet on the bottom, or the legs, or I don't even know what these are. These things, and how it's kind of sharp and prickly. You know, I did change this devil card, but it's still one of my favorites, and I think that's why I felt compelled to change it. So that's the devil. Now we move on to the tower. It's going to be one of my longer videos. These are my favorite towers from my collection. Okay, well, I'll have to do a second batch. Oh no, I can fit one more. Okay, so these are my favorite towers. This is the Gypsy Tarot, Voyager Tarot, Gypsy Palace Tarot, I'm sorry. Gypsy Palace, Voyager Tarot, Tarot of the Four Elements. This is the Crystal Tarot, and this is my absolute favorite, favorite tower of all my decks. Psychic Tarot for the heart. So I'll hold up the tiny little crystal tarot so you can see how gorgeous it is. And then the Gypsy Palace, it's hard to see. But I love how this card looks all, the people or the figures look all distorted and elongated and like they're trying to hold on to something, but everything's getting all mixed up and mashed up and it's not tenable. You know, it looks like it's gonna fall apart. I really like that interpretation of the Tower. This card just, it feels modern but ancient at the same time. And I love the inclusion of the red-winged blackbird and this statue falling. I just like the sharks. And I just, it's hard for me to explain why I like this so much, but it's wonderful. And then I have one more. I really like this Tower card from the Fountain Tarot. Resting on that point, just can't stand. Okay, so those are my favorite Tower cards. And then, we're on to the star. So these are my favorite stars. I have a lot, I guess. As most people, you know, most people like the star card. Most people are kind of relieved and happy when we see the star card come up in a reading. So this is the Hudes Tarot, the Star Tarot, the Sun and Moon Tarot. This is the Thelema Tarot, and this is the Japaridze Tarot. The Thelema Tarot, I really like how she just looks like she's part of the water, and she's, you know, moving upwards. It has a very magical quality to me. This card just reminds me of childhood wishes and dreams and hopes because it's a mermaid. Really loved that. I really like how the star card, she's all the way submerged. And I can't tell if she's coming out or going in, but I like both, you know, the idea of a cleansing bath. And then this is just so delicate and ethereal. So those are my favorite stars, and this one too. I really love this star card. This is from the Margarete Peterson Tarot. Really gorgeous. Okay, and then we move on to the moon. The moon is another card that I guess really like because I had quite a few. I had to try to pare it down a little bit. So this is the Margarete Peterson Tarot of the Four Elements, the Thelema Tarot, and the Vision Quest. The Vision Quest, as I went through it, I asked myself, like, why don't I use this deck more? It's so gorgeous. I love this moon card in the Thelema deck. I love the figure. I love the you know, the crustacean and the tower. I just love everything about this card, which is a little weird because I don't usually like that kind of. I love how this card, the trees look like hands and the moon is moving on a path, like a pearl. And then this is just an amazing, detailed, deep moon card. The little white book that goes with the Margarete Peterson is phenomenal. Just so beautiful. Okay, so those were the moon, and now we're moving on to the sun. It was kind of funny. I don't have very many favorite suns. I guess I'm not as into the sun. So this is the Hudes Tarot, the Vision Quest, and the Tarot of the Four Elements. I just added a tiny bit to this card. I really don't love faces in the sun or the moon, but for some reason I really like this face, and I like the flowers at the bottom. So those were the sun cards that are my favorites. And now we're on to Judgment. I had several that I liked. So here they are. There's kind of a recurring theme of these decks, but in any case. So this is the Thelema, this is the Tarot of the Four Elements, the Japaridze, and this is the Golden Tarot by Liz Dean. This Japaridze Tarot is probably my favorite. It's just, I don't know, the artist just captured such a feeling in the painting. And then I love the kind of joy that's coming from this one. Okay, so that was Judgment. And the last one is the World. So I don't have as many worlds as I thought I would. I could probably go back and find more, but... So this little one is the Crystal Tarot, this is the Dreaming Way, and this is the Japaridze. So I'll hold up the Crystal Tarot. So gorgeous. And then the Dreaming Way is funny. Like, you don't think of the World card when you see this old man dreaming. But then I think of the idea of dreaming a life or dreaming something into existence. And it makes sense to me. And then this is just a beautiful, exquisite explosion of the life I feel on our planet, and I just love it. So beautiful. Okay, well that is my video for the 22 favorites. I went through my decks and found some of my favorite majors. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.